Hello, it's another episode of Let's Chat Health Tech. And today we have the great pleasure of having Leah Bliss with us. And Leah is one of the world's leading experts on LinkedIn for B2B sales. And she's worked with organizations across industries, including health tech, and helping sales teams, executives, and marketing leaders stop wasting time on LinkedIn and start actually generating pipeline and revenue. Her methodology consists of it consistently drives connection acceptance rates of 86% or higher, and she's helped clients increase profile visibility by 800% or more. And she's based in Salt Lake City and is, in her words, Salt Lake City is tragically undersnowed this season. And boy, that is so true. And so is Colorado too, right? And California. So it's been tough, huh? Are you a skier?
No, which I actually hate skiing. It just combines two of my least favorite things, which is being cold and falling down.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's not for me, but I recognize that for, the industries that rely on skiing, it's been kind of a bad year.
Yeah. Oh, I did a talk about 6 weeks ago for a venture firm based out of Salt Lake, and I actually brought up the fact that, hey, you're not getting much snow, and it just chilled the room. uh, like so.
Yep.
Anyway, so we're going to talk LinkedIn, which is the de facto professional. It's really the de facto professional social media channel. I mean,
Yeah.
frankly, for all practical purposes, it's the only one I use. Twitter went the wrong way,
Yeah.
and Facebook and Instagram aren't for me. So, and I think for a lot of people, especially in health tech, if you congregate anywhere, it's LinkedIn, right? Where else would it
Yeah.
be? Yeah.
No, I mean, LinkedIn is the gold standard. When people look you up, 80% of people will look you up on LinkedIn before they meet with you. And for health tech, especially B2B, it's not like your customers are on Instagram making purchasing decisions through what they're seeing there. So, LinkedIn, I love the story of the bank robber in the Wild Wild West. He gets caught and they ask him, why do you rob banks? And he says, well, that's where the money is.
Right.
And
Right.
so be right, LinkedIn is where the money is. And so it's the only place that you need to be.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's right. So so when you think in terms of LinkedIn, you think in terms of well, one of the things you could think in terms of, oh, it's a time sink, right?
Yes.
It takes a lot of effort and so forth. And so is that there must be a way around that.
Yeah.
Like how do you advise people there?
When I work with executives, they usually have the same complaints or the same misconceptions about LinkedIn. And it is, yeah, it's a time suck. I don't have time for that. Nobody cares. And I have
Yeah.
nothing to say.
Yeah.
Why do I need to be on there? A
Right.
lot of sales professionals use it as almost like a fishing pole. They go look somebody up, they glean whatever information they can, and then they go back to their CRM or their sales process with that information. But LinkedIn, if we keep with the fishing analogy, you can use it with a fishing net. And there's a way to get a ton of prospects, a lot of engagement, and lots of people out there. So I guess the first misconception is that it is social media. I would recategorize it as a virtual networking space. And I
Right.
know that's like maybe a little bit silly, but everything that LinkedIn does as an organization, down to the way that they have their algorithm set up, the goal is to get the users of LinkedIn having better conversations with the right people to drive revenue. That's LinkedIn's goal. They want you to make money.
That's good. And so what are they getting? What are people typically doing wrong?
Oh my God, how much time do we have? Where do we start? There's a lot of things that people are doing wrong. I'll tell you that. One is not thinking about it holistically. People will often post or repost. Here's a great one. So often with organizations, the company page will put out a post and ask all of the employees to repost it to their networks. Well, algorithmically speaking, when you make a post to the organization's LinkedIn page, you're going to reach 2% of the followers of that company page
Right.
organically.
Right.
And every time someone reposts, it only goes to 1% of their network. And so it is a terrible process for LinkedIn to be used. And 99% of marketing and sales teams are using it this way. The correct way to do it is for the marketing team to present a concept for the sales teams to then use to create original organic content, because that's going to get 5 times more reach just from posting organic content, original content, your own post out to your network. So quitting the reposting is probably the easiest and fastest thing you can do to see more return on your engagement.
Is that true on on an individual level too, that you don't repost?
Yeah, anytime that you repost something as an individual, it will reach 1% of your audience.
Really?
So the reason for this is LinkedIn runs a dedupe algorithm in the background. Imagine that I'm connected to 100 employees at your organization, and every single one of them reposts the same thing. Well, gosh, the user experience, my feed is going to be very annoying
Right.
if it goes to everybody.
Right.
So it doesn't actually show it to the audience that you think it's showing it to. Additionally, LinkedIn checks to see how valuable your content is. When you make a post, you'll have roughly a 10% organic reach as an individual. But LinkedIn's algorithm goes to check your profile to determine if you are even qualified to be posting about this topic. So if you don't have an about section, if your history and work experience doesn't showcase that you have been in this industry, you're not going to reach as many people. Additionally, it reads the text of the post. It uses AI now to read the post, and it asks the question, could anybody have posted this? Is this generic boilerplate AI content, or is Brendan showing up to talk to his audience about his thoughts and ideas and industry knowledge as a way to provide value and start a conversation versus just announcing a webinar, announcing, right, we hit a new round of funding, whatever it is, we need to move away from announcing
Yeah.
and to conversing.
Yeah. So not to push back on you, but at all, but I think certainly you're right in terms of the statistics and the algorithm and so forth. But at the same time, would it not be occasionally good to repost something for someone in order to get that individual's attention? Like, because if someone reposts something that I've done, that I posted, then I see that and I go, oh, that person liked it. And now I like them more.
Yes.
And so, yeah.
Yeah, you bring up a great point, because we can use activity on LinkedIn to ingratiate ourselves to our customers and our prospects. Better than reposting is commenting. Commenting is the single most impactful thing that you can do on the platform. If we think about you creating a post, that's you starting a conversation in this virtual networking space. But a comment is you joining somebody else's conversation. And so a repost is only going to reach 1%. A comment will reach up to 30% of your network, and it allows you to directly converse with the very prospect you're looking to build that relationship with. So instead of reposting, leave a comment, tell them that this is interesting, talk to them about the things that they're posting about, just like you would in person, right? It's one thing to, right, if we move this into kind of this imaginary space of in person, if I heard you say something, your post, and then went and told somebody else, like, hey, this guy over here just said something really cool, yeah, you'd hear about it. But isn't it more valuable for me to say directly to you, wow, what a fascinating topic? From my perspective, this is what we're seeing in the market, and start that conversation with the individual.
And it's probably going too far to say this, but or a little too optimistic, but it's almost like it's a way to reinforce a certain level of generosity inside of social media, which is kind of counterintuitive to social media these days. But it
Yes.
really does. It's it's really that much more impactful to just weigh in on other people's
Oh,
and
yeah.
yeah, that's
Oh, yeah.
fascinating.
I tell people all the time that if you were to do 3 comments a day on your prospects or current customers' posts for 5 days in a week, you will see anywhere between 200 and 800% increase in the number of people viewing your profile.
That's wild. That's really, and you know what? And it does make sense. And when you describe it in those terms, it doesn't seem like the time sink that you would otherwise be. Like
Right.
you just schedule it into your day, and you get in, you do your thing, you do your work, and then you get out, and it's an investment. Yeah,
It's an investment, just like anything else, right? We've all got sales cadences that we operate under, right? You do an email, you do a call, you follow up. Why not just add LinkedIn commenting to that cadence as another opportunity for a touch point?
right, right. All right, so now because this is a health tech oriented venue we're in,
Mhm.
and you mentioned to me before that health tech is the second most represented industry. It makes me wonder what's first, but
So it's kind of a mashup because the two most represented are tech and healthcare.
okay,
So health tech kind of falls
okay.
squarely in that.
Okay, so that's actually encouraging. What does that mean for companies and individuals that are selling to or in the healthcare space, selling to hospitals and health plans, pharma, that sort of thing? Is it a bigger, and is it a bigger opportunity, or is it more competitive, and how should we think about it if we're in the healthcare world?
So it's a bigger opportunity because I love the idea that as a salesperson, our only job is to figure out how people like to be interacted with and
Yeah,
communicated to.
yeah,
So it is a higher percentage likelihood that the very people you want to talk to are active on LinkedIn, which allows more opportunity for commenting. The sense of a competition, yes, there's more people, but there's not very many people doing it the right way. We see all the time people, what I like to call the pitch slap,
yeah.
right? The
Slap.
pitch slap, right? We've all gotten it where somebody sends you a connection request. Hey, you popped up. Hey, we see we're in the same network. And it's kind of, you're like,
Yeah,
should I connect with them? You
yeah,
do. And then they immediately start a very obviously automated drip campaign in your DMs, messaging, messaging,
yeah,
messaging.
yeah,
And it's ineffective. It's deeply ineffective. We all just roll our eyes collectively and it's like, oh, another one of these. And so there's a bigger chance for you to stand out if you start building rapport and treating it like a relationship builder, not a numbers game where you're just trying to churn through as many messages as possible.
right, right. In the same way, is it best to try and curate your followers or your connections to people specific, or do you want as many as you can have?
To a degree, so there's always a limit. LinkedIn is very anti-influencer. They do not want a small subsect of people dominating the conversations in any particular industry. So once you hit 10,000 connections, you will see a little bit of a dampener on your ability to reach a broader audience. But what I train sales teams all the time on is their Hot 100 list. Find 100 people who are either current customers you want to maintain relationships with,
Yeah,
channel partners, or prospects. Put them on a list. And then when you go to do your commenting every day, just go into that list and start engaging with those people. If you do 2 comments before sending a connection request, the likelihood of that person accepting is 86%. So you can begin to control who you're connecting with because you're the one initiating the relationship. Now, should you, people all the time are like, oh, I only connect with people I've met in person. Well, the benefit of LinkedIn is that you don't have to be in the room with these people. So often we can't be in the room with all of these people.
Right. Right. Right.
So choosing the right types of people in your industry, partners, customers, prospects, cultivating a list of those individuals and making sure that you're adding them to your network. Absolutely. That should be what we're all doing.
Yeah. Well, and I tell you, that is excellent advice, because I do that in the real world, in the same sort of thing, and it takes a certain amount of effort, and to do this that same process naturally, I would think, would naturally translate over that your hot 100 or 100, whatever that number is. That makes that I'm glad you said that. That's really helpful. Now, it's not healthcare specific though, still, but so is there anything in particular to healthcare or in the health tech space that you would that you might, or how might the content be different, or anything, or is it really
Yeah.
just a
So we got to think about LinkedIn kind of in three different areas.
yeah,
We've got your profile, which
yep,
needs to be filled out, highlighting your expertise
yep,
in the field,
yep,
right? Your about section needs to expressly say, like, this is my expertise in health tech. We've got commenting, which we know is used to build relationships, but then it's content creation. What posts are you putting out there? And the biggest thing that I see people making the mistake of is just announcing things.
yeah, yeah,
The
oh,
best content, right?
yes,
Thrilled
yeah.
to announce, like, how many people can be really that thrilled,
That's
please?
right. Or
But
how about I'm at this conference and here's me at a picture of me at a conference.
right. And I tell people all the time when I meet with them and they want to learn how to create better content is, if your post isn't answering this, it's two questions really.
Right,
You failed. The
right,
first question is, who are you talking to? Do you
yeah,
know who you're
yeah,
talking to?
right,
The second question is, why do they care? So
yeah,
what? You went
right,
to a conference? Neato.
yeah,
Why do I care?
yeah.
And
That's
so we
yeah,
have to explain it to people. Most of us have fairly we're so close to the information, right? We know the products and services, we know the value of them, but our audience doesn't necessarily make the connection right away. So we have to explain it to them. I say every LinkedIn post needs to expressly say who you're talking to, what value you're bringing them, and why they should care.
yeah. I think, and by the way, those are great fundamental characteristics of just standard sales too. Those
Mhm.
sorts of things just apply across the board. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
The good news is one or two posts a week is all you need. You should be commenting 10 times more often than you're posting.
yeah, that makes sense. And that's reasonable. I mean, that's really quite doable when you think about it, right? So staying with this health tech focus of like a dog on a bone here.
I love it.
If you a founder, like an early stage health tech company, or a small startup health tech founder came to you and said, "Hey, we're not doing anything on LinkedIn. Where would you what would you start? How would you start on an individual and a company basis?"
I mean, I would chastise them immediately and then we would get to work, because especially for founders and early stage, the founding team, the executive team, their personal brands are going to
Yeah,
drive so much of the organization. I would tell them that their focus needs to be on a couple of things, whether it's a single founder or a team, that nearly 100% of the content around the organization should be coming from the perspectives of the leaders, and that the company page should be reposting everything that the leadership is doing. They need to get their profile set up.
yep,
The last thing we want is, right, it's your first impression most of the time. The last thing you want is a bad first impression. Get your profile cleaned up, post twice a week, keep to the understanding of who you're talking to, and start commenting not just on prospects and customers, but on other experts in the fields that they're trying to get into, and give your 2 cents, right? let your audience see you actively participating in conversations around the very expertise that you're bringing to market.
Yep. Yep.
And so whether it's, get a new headshot, get a photo
Right.
on your LinkedIn,
Right.
please. But really let's understand, if I was to come in, I would say, oh, founding team, we're going to sit down. Each of you is going to get 90 minutes and we're going to clean up your profile. We're going to get all of that squared away to give
Yeah.
that best first impression.
Yeah.
Then I would meet with who was ever in the marketing team and say, let's get a cadence down. Leaders should be posting once, if not twice a week. Let's figure out their unique voice, because the head of marketing versus the head of operations versus the, chief technology officer, they're all going to have a different viewpoint about what they're doing. And it's their own unique insights that the market wants to know and see. So segment leaders. And then I would get them to really enlist any and everybody they can find to be actively commenting on their posts as soon as they get posted. Because when the organization comes together to leave comments, right? Because if the CEO makes a post about something, we do want the chief technology officer to give their 2 cents
Yeah.
from their perspective and to start commenting and really get organized on the back end, right? Even if it's Slack. Hey, everybody, CEO is going to be posting tomorrow at 10 a.m. Here's the copy of the post he's posting. Please prepare your comments ahead of time. We don't want 100 great posts. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah. Right. And does LinkedIn penalize companies for posting on the, commenting on their own company's stuff, or does that they don't discount those?
No, not at all. Think of it like a very public round table. If you've got 3 or 4, like a panel, if you've got 3 or 4 people from the same organization all
Yep.
talking about it,
Yep.
the audience is overhearing, and it's very valuable to the audience to have those multiple perspectives. So having the same people from the same organization be commenting on posts from each other is beneficial.
Okay. That makes sense. All right. So, all right, I'll shift gears a little bit here, and we're staying on the topic of LinkedIn, but Sales Navigator.
Mm-hmm.
So I spend money on that,
Yes, as
and
as do I.
right, and I am certain I'm not using it to its full value. Like, can you give me 2 or 3 things that I should start with, that I should be sure I'm doing? Because
Yes.
I'm sure they dovetail right into what you've been talking about so far.
Mm-hmm. Sales Navigator makes your daily commenting really easy because back to the Hot 100 list. You've got
Yeah.
100 people you want to stay in contact with. Add them to a lead list
Okay.
on Sales Navigator. From the homepage on Sales Navigator, you can select to see a custom feed of only the people on that list.
Okay.
So instead of scrolling through LinkedIn or searching people up one at a time, now everybody that you've already identified are people you want to maintain that constant relationship with are showing up in a custom feed where you can comment right from Sales Navigator. So
Wow.
that makes
Yeah.
it really, really fast and easy.
Yeah.
Additionally, there's something called saved searches.
Yep.
For a lot of organizations, especially in health tech, they have a specific ideal client persona. They want to talk to head of technology, head of operations at hospitals. And so they can identify exactly the type of prospect they want to interact with.
Right.
In Sales Navigator, you can insert dozens of different qualifications. I like to think of it as online shopping for prospects. You just get to filter as specifically as you want to.
Yeah.
Then you can save the search criteria, not just the names that have popped up. Then, about once a week, LinkedIn will email you and say, hey, there's 20 new names that have popped onto that list that now fall under that search criteria. And you can go back to Sales Navigator and see all of the new people that have been hired, promoted, right? Joined an organization, all of a sudden now fit those ideal client
Right.
qualifications
Yeah.
without you having to go and research them.
That's fantastic. All right. Well, this is great.
Good.
And Leah, I know that this is what you do, and I'm quite certain that you just sort of just touched the tip of the iceberg, kind of a thing. I mean, in terms of the things you can do, but I mean, this is really quite fascinating, and I'm and actionable. I just think that you could kind of take away, just the transcript of this and start to do these sorts of things, and then we'll go from
Absolutely.
there. Anything last minute before, like any last thing, anything I didn't ask you, I should be asking you?
Um, no, I think we covered it all. I mean, there's so many nuances on an individual basis, right? Based on an organization, the organizational size, how to get things structured, how to set up your profile. All of these things
Yeah.
are deeply personal.
Yeah.
One thing I will mention is that most people come to me and they say something to this extent. But Leah, I'm so complex. I have two interests. And I say, you're not, God bless you, you're not as interesting as you think you are. But it's true that all of us are more than just the organization that we work for.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's important because we know in sales, people buy from people they know, people they like, and people they trust. If your entire online LinkedIn identity is just employee at, you miss an opportunity to connect with people on that human level. So finding what I like to think of as the intersection of your two interests
Right. Yeah.
is a way for you to start to curate very unique and very engaging content. 10% of your content that you're posting is allowed to be completely unrelated to work,
Cat
completely
photo.
unrelated to the industry that you're in. Right? We're not trying to make it Facebook for work,
Right. Right.
but like if
Yeah.
you go on my LinkedIn, there's pictures of my kid, there's pictures of my cat. There are ways to bring the human to it because in a real life networking space, we don't just talk about work. We talk about skiing and we talk about travel and we talk about our kids and there's so much more to humans. And I would hate for somebody to only show up as the professional version of themselves and not the whole version of
Right.
themselves.
Right. I think that makes sense. Yes. Very good. Well, this has been great, and I really appreciate the time coming on, and so tell people how do they connect with you? Obviously,
Oh,
LinkedIn,
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn,
It's
right?
so funny. I
And,
go to
and
networking events and people are like, "Oh, do you have a business card?" I'm like,
yeah,
no, you can find me on LinkedIn.
that's right. That's right. And then on top, and then it's for businesses in particular.
Mhm.
To bring you in and have you talk to them, the management and the team and so forth. Is that what they should think about you doing?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So there's, it's so personalized for every single organization. I've worked with teams as small as 3. I've worked with companies that have a global organization, tens of thousands of employees. There's always a way to help make an impact. And the first thing is always, let's get everybody on the same page when it comes to LinkedIn. And so whether that's a keynote or a training, I have probably 6 hours of trainings that I can deliver between C-suites, marketing,
Yeah.
sales navigator, the whole thing.
Okay. Very good. All right. Well, it's Leah Bliss, and you'll find her on LinkedIn. And Leah, again, thank you for being on as our guest, and for you in the audience, thank you for listening. I think it's
Brendan,
been
thank you
very
so much.
worthwhile. You bet. Thanks. All right.